Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking Games with Kellie and Andrew. I'm Andrew.
I'm Kellie.
It looked like you forgot.
I had to think about it for a second.
Did you forget your name or forget where you were or what?
I forgot where I was. I forgot what we were doing. I forgot who I am. I forgot what I need.
I do feel like it's probably slightly difficult to get into the podcast because it used to be like, I'd be like, okay, you ready? You'd be like, yeah, I'm ready. And I'll be like, okay, 1 second. And then I'd like take a deep breath and then I'd do the hello, everyone. But now, like, we'll be just like, if there's a slight lull in our conversation, I just go.
Yeah.
So you never get true warning anymore.
Yeah, you don't make it easy for me.
Yeah, I kind of took that away from you, and I don't think it's appropriate for me to apologize because to be frank, I don't care.
Wow.
So.
You know what you should care about?
Oh, no.
Wiglet.
No, I put it in here. I don't know.
The Pokemon. You know why? Because he's wiggly. And he's a little guy.
If ever we had visual aids.
Just put him in the thumbnail.
No, then we'll get demonetized.
No, it's just a plush.
Did you look at the second picture?
You're the one with the...
Look at the second picture.
Okay, I'm looking at the second picture now. For those who don't know, Wiglet is a Pokemon, and he pops up from the ground, right? He's like he's a different version of Diglett, basically.
Yeah.
But he pops up from the ground, and that's what he does. And this plush respects that aspect of his personhood very much so by having him pop out of the ground, and you can see a base and the worm-esque formation of Wiglet. So there's like a long piece, and then there's a base. And that's really all I'm going to say about it, because that's all I can say without turning this podcast into something that it is most certainly not.
Did you think that I included this just because they were making a Pokemon plush and not because it's...
No, I knew... Well, here's the thing. As this is kind of a slow news week, and I thought that maybe it was going to be really cute, or you just wanted to hear me talk about plushies because, I love plush. This plushie I probably will not be adding to my collection.
You don't want this good old-fashioned 10 1/4-inch cylindrical
I don't.
Plush?
I don't. I have never mind. I don't. I'm good on that. It's $25 too, which is a lot. It's pretty steep for a stuffed animal.
It's a dick. Anyway, moving on, keeping to the Pokemon train. This story is a lot less phallic. The Pokemon COO had an interview with comicbook.com, and they were asking him about the output of Pokemon games and the possibility of slowing down the output. This is in response, obviously, to the Pokemon Scarlet Violet quality debate that kind of circled around all of the Pokemon games of the past year, that being Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and Pokemon Scarlet Violet. When talking to comicbook.com, he said, and I quote, "Always having these products be able to be introduced and new experiences for our customers. That's how we've operated up until now. I think we're still operating in that way, but there's more and more conversations as the development environments change about how we can continue to do this, continue to do this while making sure that we're still ensuring really quality products are also being introduced." I'm bad at speaking, but that was also a weirdly translated sentence.
It sounds like they used like an AI to formulate that response.
Yeah, I was reading through that was not easy. Anyway, it's an interesting thing to talk about because, if you look at the sales of those three games I just mentioned, they're all around 20 million units. And all of them came out within 12 months of each other. It was Brilliant Diamond in, what year is it? 2023. So that one came out in 2021, Christmas of 2021. And then Legends Arceus came out right after in January of 22. And then Scarlet Violet came out Christmas of 22. So within a year, those 3 games came out, and they all sold 20 million units. Yes, there was a lot of discourse. Does the Pokemon Company really have to care?
No.
And
They
that
don't have
sucks.
to at all.
No.
My I don't want to say too much because the last time we talked about a video game series that was teasing cutting back on production, they completely changed their mind, and I don't foresee the Pokemon Company ever not overproducing. But yeah, it's not. It doesn't matter what critics say. People will buy Pokemon no matter what. We saw that with Scarlet and Violet, and how many people bought them and how best selling they really were. So
Yeah.
I don't really foresee this ever changing, ever. I think they make way too much money.
I just look at, I know this is an odd comparison, but Call of Duty. And I know this is the 3rd week we've talked about Call of Duty on the show, and it's probably making certain audience members a little bit sick to their stomach.
They can get over it.
Yeah, sorry, Cameron. But that game comes out every year. That series releases a game every year. They always have. And those games don't come out broken and buggy, usually. What's the difference here? They bring in different studios. So Activision is the publisher, but, Sledgehammer Games or the other ones. Is Ravensoft one of them?
I think it used to be.
Okay.
I don't think it exists anymore.
Treyarch. That's another one. Anyway.
Yes.
I thought I could talk about Call of Duty and not sound like a fool, but I ruined it.
It's like it's a curse. Like you can't sound like you know what you're talking about when you talk about Call of Duty.
No, but Pokemon got money. They got huge, gigantic money. Why on earth do they not do that? And I know Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was outsourced. So maybe that's the answer, is even when they do outsource, they still rush it, Because that game was clearly rushed. No matter your opinions on the game itself, looking at it visually and like what they did with it, it is very much rushed. So maybe they just don't care, because they could do what I'm suggesting, and then they have developers working on games for like 3 years instead of 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And they still have an annual output, but I guess they keep it all in-house, and then even when they don't, they still rush it.
Yeah. Yeah, who's to say? Who's to say what the future of this series will look like? I just foresee a lot more. Bye. Hey, I love... How many guys were in Backstreet Boys? 4?
5? Or is NSYNC 5?
Well, I know about a group of 4 boys. 4 fellas.
There's 5.
Oh, okay.
5.
Well, my transition doesn't really work then. Right?
But NSYNC has...
5. 6.
I don't know. I misspelled NSYNC. I spelled it INSNY.
I bet they had 6 in sync.
5.
Oh, okay. I was the hidden
Justin
6th
Timberlake, JC. I'm not going to say them.
Okay. This is all leading to our next news story.
Joey Fatone.
Which is a very exciting news. A new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is coming out. The Last Ronin. It's based off a comic series that happened a couple years ago. Kind of a dark and gritty Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle story, I guess you would call it a story. It wasn't a super extensive trailer, just a tease. And it is slated to be available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC, and that's it. Sorry. And at the end, it just says in development. So that doesn't really mean anything.
Did we talk about this game when there were rumors about like a God of War-esque TMNT game? Did we talk about it?
No.
Okay. Do you know which Ninja Turtle this game's about?
Michelangelo?
Yes. I was not quizzing you. You said it, and I saw the answer. I was trying to figure out which Ninja Turtle it is. Are the other Ninja Turtles dead?
The teaser kind of implies that. I don't know. I didn't read the comics, so I don't know. I'm also not super in depth of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lore, so I'm not sure.
There's only like a couple things about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles I know about.
They like pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they like to sing.
Yeah. I don't.
That's deep lore. That's a deep cut.
I'm not gonna specify because I don't want everybody to see it. But there's a very crass, extremely crass, and pretty upsetting YouTube video. That's an animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video that me and Kellie like to watch regularly.
Some may call it upsetting, but some of us may call it comforting.
I wouldn't. It's really upsetting, but it starts with a young man who's like, "This is my first song. Please don't tease me. I hope you please don't tease me, and please don't tease me." And me and Kellie reference that regularly.
Yeah. Well, we don't like to be teased.
No.
I don't have time for fun or games. Okay.
Do you have time for Baldur's Gate 3?
That I do have time for, even though that is fun and a game.
It's something apparently a lot of people have time for. It is now on OpenCritic, which is, well, I guess I shouldn't say our. It is my preferred aggregate scoring site. Is it yours, Kellie?
Sure. I don't have a preferred one, to be honest with you.
Well, it's better than Metacritic, because Metacritic weights their scores, so it's like, oh, wow, this score means more because it's from this outlet, which is crazy. And OpenCritic does not do that, and it includes from a lot more outlets. Well, Baldur's Gate 3, when it came out, was a 94, I think. And then it rose to a 95. Then it rose to a 96. It has risen to a 97, which is wild because in my, like, many years of using OpenCritic, I've never seen a game rise consistently. I've only seen games drop. Like, for example, Tears of the Kingdom came out 98, and it slowly dropped to a 96, which is still amazing. But Baldur's Gate 3 has just gone up, and now it is OpenCritic's #1 highest ranked game ever. Do keep in mind, OpenCritic is a relatively new website. It started about 10 years ago, I believe. So it's not absolutely insane. No, it is. That's pretty insane. Even if it is the last 10 years, that's crazy.
Yeah, 10 years is nothing to sniff at.
Yeah. And on Metacritic, which has been going, it basically includes the whole of video game history in review form. It is the 10th highest ranked game. So I think the game's doing pretty good. Would you agree?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I would. Shall I get it? Should we get into it?
Into what? I'm sorry, what are we talking about? I don't know
Baldur's
anything
Gate
about
3.
What's that?
Baldur's Gate 3, the video game that we talk about on our video game podcast that we're currently recording right now.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay, it was so much fun talking to you guys today. I hope you have a great night. Bye. Just kidding.
I have to make a correction also. I said that it was 10th on Metacritic. It was this morning, on the morning of August 14th. Now at 5:41 p.m. on August 14th, it is 8. I don't know how it's raising by the hour. That does not make sense to me.
I think more people are playing it and getting further into the game.
Yeah, but it's just critics. So what critics are...
My thinking is
crazy.
Nobody really got review copies for the game. Well, the review embargo didn't lift until release. So I'm thinking people, maybe reviewers who got the game early are probably just finishing now and are maybe able to give their full reviews. That's kind of my thinking.
That's crazy. Just as a quick... Okay, I'm going to do a quick rundown. The top 10. Number 10. And you're going to see some of the flaws of this list because there 2 of the top 10 are repeats. But number 10, GTA 5. Number 9, Red Dead 2. Number 8, Baldur's Gate 3. 7, Super Mario Galaxy 2. 6, Super Mario Galaxy. 5, GTA 4. 4, Soul Calibur. 3, also GTA 4. That's kind of where the flaw comes in. Number 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and number 1, Ocarina of Time. So that means, I mean, if you take out Grand Theft Auto 4, one of them, it's 7th ever. And this list is, I mean, Ocarina of Time's number 1. That's 1998 ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm just getting not upset, but just ever.
Right.
Okay, tell me about the game, Kelly. You've been playing it.
Sure. Yeah. I'm about 40 hours in now.
Whoa.
Yeah, no big deal. Obviously, I talked about it last week, so I won't talk about it too much. I will say that I think the game, I don't know if this is just because I played early access and was very familiar with a lot of Act 1 content, but once I got to like Act 2, the game is like, it's so interesting because I think it's so long at this point that there are things that happened that I look back on and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. Remember when that happened? But cool things just keep happening. I just finished Act 2 yesterday and then moving into Act 3. I do think I'm going a little bit quick because other people are like, I'm 40 hours in and I just finished Act 1. And it's like, oh, okay, maybe I'm going a little too fast.
Well, yeah, but you also had Act 1 for like a year.
Yeah. So I just got to Act 3, which is where, I don't know if this is spoilery. Never mind. I won't say too much. The game really keeps surprising me in new ways. It's just so customizable, like the experience, the way that you can approach different situations, the way that your class and race has so much standing on certain dialogue choices, ways that you interact with characters. I'm finding myself very attached to the characters, which is fun for me because it's hard. It's difficult for me to feel that way about certain video game characters. Like, I love the characters in Mass Effect and Dragon Age and Fallout, mostly Mass Effect and Dragon Age. They feel very real to me, even though they're all fantasy characters. That's how I feel about these characters. They all feel very real. I think it's just something about the way that the player character interacts with them and vice versa that just feels very, like, rewarding. There's one character, and I won't say names or anything. I won't, because I don't want to spoil it, but they are kind of not a good person. And it's very evident. But they go through this, like, growth and development over the course of the game that by the time you get to Act 3, you start getting approval for different things. And you're like, oh, I think you're becoming a good person. And that's because of your character's influence, which is really fun for me because I like playing goody two-shoe characters. I always have. I can't be mean to people in video games. It's just not something I can do. So just like the reactivity of the world and the characters surrounding you is very cool. Baldur's Gate is a city in D&D, just for the record. Baldur's Gate is very, very unique. It's very, very dense. I was thinking to myself that there's no way that they could pull it off in the game because big cities and games tend to get shrunken. But they have done and did a really, really good job. I'm like wowed by the team because they just had this huge product release. And I don't know, they just seem very dedicated to hot fixes. There's already been like 3 hot fixes in the span of like 2 weeks, which is kind of a lot. And they're working on the first patch now. Because like if I was them, I'd go take a vacation. But maybe not. But anyway, I don't want to like ramble. And like I said, I already sort of talked about it, but I'm having a really good time. I'm feeling very emotionally fulfilled and satisfied by the game. I feel like it's very much for me, it's like a spiritual successor to Dragon Age, which no game has ever felt that way for me before.
Wow. Whoa, that's huge.
Yeah, I know. And it's kind of sad because that's always like so that game is so important to me. As we know, I've talked about it so much. I don't even have to say it anymore. But I That's just how I feel. I just feel similar to how I felt then.
That's huge. That makes me very, very happy to hear.
Yeah, and I've been keeping Andrew and friend of the show Cameron up to date on all of the happenings in my game.
Are you just talking about your romantic affairs? Is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, all of my nighttime
Just say
affairs.
it.
Yeah.
Just say what you did.
So as a druid, you can turn into different animals. There's a druid companion in the game. He can turn into animals. And he turned into a bear. And my character and his character had a nice romantic evening together. One of them as a tiefling and the other as a bear. So that
Kellie
happened.
Boned the bear.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting too, just the way that like certain things unfold. There's a very unique character in the game. I really don't want to spoil it, so I'm being very gentle. There's a very unique character in the game that I was not expecting to feel the way that I feel about.
Good or bad way?
Good.
Oh.
A very interesting addition to the game because this character was very, very, very different in early access.
As in the way they are even in Act 1 is different or just going forward?
All across the board.
Wow, that's really incredible.
So I really admire that because they kind of threw me for a loop because I thought I knew what I was getting into. And it turns out I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea what was happening. And, well, I'm not going to say anything else. I don't want to spoil it because I know people are playing it. I know some people are still in Act 1 and Act 2.
Some of us aren't
I know
allowed
Andrew's
to play
going to play
it
it once it comes to consoles. So, overall, having a great time. I expect I will finish it before the end of the month, which I kind of have to because I have to play Starfield and Cyberpunk. And then I have to get married. But also, as a note, I probably will go back and replay Baldur's Gate 3 like immediately afterwards because I really want to re-roll and do another class and different choices and maybe a little bit more evil this time.
Kellie's going to be evil.
I'm going to do my best. I don't think I'm going to be evil. I think I'm just going to be kind of selfish.
You should be evil. I can't even imagine you doing that.
I can't. It's so hard for me. Okay. So like there's a certain threshold that I feel like I can't cross. In Mass Effect 1 and 2, some of the evil choices are like, okay, whatever. They're not that bad. They're just pragmatic. In Mass Effect 3, the evil choices are so evil. It's like, why would I ever do this? This doesn't even make sense for an evil person to do.
Just completely irrational.
Yeah, same with Dragon Age. Like, some of the evil choices just don't make sense. In this game, some of the evil choices make a little bit of sense.
As in, like, you could understand where they would be coming from?
Yeah, like, I can see the motivation behind them. And while I may not personally agree, I think that a character who was not a good person would be able to justify their actions easily.
I'm very interested to play this game. And it's, like, largely dependent on Starfield. Because they come out on the same day. Which is...
Yeah.
Obviously
rough.
On purpose because it comes out on PS5 that day, which is not a console that is getting Starfield. I don't know. I wonder if Sony paid for that behind closed doors because it's weird that it's not coming to Series. Did they confirm why? Is it because of Series S? Because Series S is too hard to make things for because it's so low, technically.
I don't know. I truly don't know.
You've only played on keyboard and mouse, right? Okay.
Correct. But I've heard controller support is actually really, really good. And I've heard some of the controller, optimizations are actually better than keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, that's because, obviously that's how I'll play. So I don't know if I'll play on release day. I would like to, but Starfield is free for me because I got Game Pass. So if it's also very good, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
A game I'm trying to finish before Starfield comes out. Final Fantasy 16.
Wow.
Between me and you, audience, don't tell Kellie. I was kind of not 100% meshing with the game. I felt guilty because I love Final Fantasy. I was very excited for Yoshi P's take on the series. I loved the Final Fantasy 16 lead up. I just thought, oh, it's going to be a great game. I'm going to have a great time. I love the way the combat looks and stuff. And then I started. The opening act, great. The opening chunk is really cool. And then things kind of slow down, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then something really cool happens, and I'm like, oh, I'm back on board. And then it got really slow for a while. And I kind of had to force myself to play quite a bit. And it was not super fun, and I wasn't really meshing with it. But I got to a point last night. I'm about 14 hours in, I believe. Some actual, like, really serious plot stuff happened. I won't get specific, but the actual, like, great force antagonist, like an antagonist, not just like Warring Kingdoms, but an actual antagonist was introduced. And I was like, whoa, they are cool. They are really interesting and really cool. Why didn't I meet this person immediately when the game started? Because it's just so engaging. And now I'm like, oh, I'm on board. And like I said, it sucked that it took this long, but I got exciting news. I'm on board. I think I'm in, and I think that's gonna be it. I think I'm gonna actually start playing this game full throttle, and I hope that I can finish it before Starfield comes out in just a few weeks here.
Woo!
Game I started and finished this last week, though. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which is the port of Kirby's Return to Dreamland from the Wii. It came out on Switch earlier this year. I had not quite had the time to get around to it, but I finally did this past week. It's a short one. I finished it and the pretty sizable epilogue in about 7 hours. I think I was partially scared away by this game because of Kirby Star Allies, which came out the second year of Switch, I believe. And that game I didn't like because it was very slow. The side-scrolling platforming didn't feel good because Kirby was just so slow moving around. The mechanic of like making friends with other characters seems kind of cool, but like it just massively reduces the pace of the game. This, however, has incredibly good pace. I knew it was one of the most critically acclaimed Kirby games ever, but I finally played it, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it took me about 5 hours to get through the actual base game, which was perfect. I didn't want it to be long. If you went for 100% completion, I think this game would probably take you a lot of hours, because I finished it and those 5 hours, and it was like, you finished 30% of the game. And I was like, oh, that's not very much, considering I finished every level. But also, I tried to look up how long to beat Kirby's Return to Dreamland, and it made it Kirby's Rooters Dreamland.
Oh.
So,
wow.
After you finish the game, completionist is 25-hour estimate. After you complete the main game or finish the main game, you get access to Magolor's epilogue, who is the how shall we say, morally ambiguous character that Kirby and co become friends with in the main game. Well, in the epilogue, you get to see what happens with him after the main story, and he has his own like 18 levels, I believe it was. Has his own mechanics. He does not absorb enemy powers like Kirby. Instead, he has his own set of moves, which you can unlock as you move through the game and upgrade. You get points, and you like level up and have an ability tree and everything. It's crazy. I was kind of disappointed it was only 2 hours just because it was really cool. Granted, that probably helped because it was, short and sweet. But I really wasn't expecting it to be as fun as it was for an epilogue that's added to the Switch port. Also, the final boss was difficult in a Kirby game. I was very taken aback. It took me a couple tries. And the last try took a really long time, and I had to be very careful to not die. And I just was really not expecting challenge in a Kirby game.
Yeah. Dark Souls?
Dark Souls. Dark Curbs.
Yeah, Kirby Dark
Kirby
Souls.
Anyway, if you have any interest in the Kirby series, this is a great place to jump in if you haven't already. I very highly recommend it. I got it from my local library, so I didn't worry about the time at all. And 7 hours, kind of perfect. I know I say it on the show, but I love short games. I love a game that I can finish in a few days. it just feels good to be making progress like that, you know. So, but that was my week. Those were my gaming experiences.
Wow. We had some fun gaming experiences this week, Andrew.
I didn't.
It kind of sounds like you did, though.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, I had fun. Sorry, I forgot. You had to remind me. I completely forgot. So this week, I played a game called Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe.
That's quite all right. We're good. Thanks.
Kellie, you don't want to hear about it?
Yep, that's all right.
Kellie, I thought the whole point of this podcast was that we talk about games, and you're sitting here saying I'm not supposed to talk about the game I played this week?
Yeah, that's what I am saying.
My cat woke up.
Do you think the microphone picked that up?
Yeah, I think so. Well, if you heard him,
that's true.
my cat just woke up from a very heavy nap, and he tried to step on the keyboard, and I don't want him to cut off the recording somehow. So
he's he said, "I'm so sleepy and brave."
He's brave. Oh, you're not allowed to walk across the keyboard. We should probably wrap this up before my cat deletes this audio.
Well, from me and Andrew and Ben, thank you all so much for listening this week. I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope it's filled with fun. Thanks for listening. Bye.